Broads Media.
That game was a perfect example of why I was nervous heading into this series and why I thought that if the Phillies could squeeze out a split, it wouldn't be the worst case scenario. I hate to say this because it makes me sick, but the Mets are fucking good. Now, there's a lot of baseball left. Zach Wheeler takes the mound in game one of the doubleheader on Saturday. And of course, Bailey Falter takes the ball in game two. So for all the greatness and excitement with Zach Wheeler, it loses a little bit of power knowing that there's basically an opener going with Falter and you're trying to squeeze out as many innings as possible with him before having to go to your bullpen. The Dodgers, I think, skews everybody's minds when it comes to where the league is. The Mets are basically Houston Astros territory. If you remove the Dodgers and how much of a powerhouse they really are, the next in line, the Yankees are falling apart and their whole fan base is losing their minds. It's the Mets and the Astros. So I'm just trying to put that in perspective on how good the Mets are. Well, you're not facing Scherzer and DeGrom. Yeah, but if you look at Peterson's numbers, if you look at Bassett's numbers, these guys are talented. They have depth at the starting rotation position. They're nasty. Francisco Lindor is tearing the cover off the ball. Pete Alonso can smash the baseball. And I keep seeing this reaction that Aaron Nola is starting his collapse. I can't go there yet. His last start was July 17th. His last start was August 13th versus the same Mets, the very same team. 8 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 1 walk with 8 strikeouts. That was the last time he was on the mound before this game where they just lost 7-2. I mean, how are we already claiming that he is awful and he can't pitch well? Before that, August 7th, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. Before that, July 31st, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. July 26th, he had a bit of a stinker, going 6 and allowing 5. But July 17th, 8 1/3, 0 earned runs, 10 strikeouts. I mean, yeah, yes, the Mets made him pay. There were some 2-strike counts, whether it was 2-2 or a full count, that you would like to have back. He made some mistakes, and good teams will make you pay, especially when Alec Bohm is trying to throw the ball to second base and it goes into the outfield. That type of stuff cannot happen. You could probably get away with it when you're playing the Nationals, when you're playing the Pirates, when you're playing Cincinnati, but when you're playing the Mets and you're down 1-0 early and there's a lot of fans taking over your ballpark, it's a hard climb. I love the atmosphere. I did. I really appreciated when Bryson Stott got a triple and you can hear the roaring of the crowd and you thought, okay, it's 1-0. Bryson Stott gets a triple. Maybe you can climb back into it. Tie it up. You couldn't. Stranded. And I thought maybe Kyle Schwarber's presence would help out with that, and then it did. I mean, look at what he did. He did do some damage to score some runs, and he's back in the leadoff position, which I'm totally fine with. I don't understand why there are so many people upset with him hitting there. The team has 60-plus wins with him being pretty much plugged right into that leadoff spot for a reason. That's his spot right now. Maybe long-term you could like Bryson Stott, and I do like Bryson Stott long-term, maybe getting the crew going with that number 1 position in the batting order. But not right now. This year, and for the rest of the way, if Schwarber is there, that's what you do. I'm surprised Nick Maton didn't go over Zimmer. Zimmer's numbers against Bassett, though, there was a home run involved. I think he was about 2 for 4. So, I figured as soon as I saw the lineup, we'd be seeing some sort of statistic that made them believe it was the best thing to do. Matt Vierling's bad, though. It's one of those things where when he creates the spark, it's fine. And you take it in doses. But when he's not creating that spark, he's awful. The beginning of the year showed that. And it looks like now we're in a spurt where it's the same thing. I mean, I can't tell you that Nick Maton is a no-brainer. I'm just saying. The dude does have a little personality to him that seems to get the fellas a bit excited. That smile is contagious after making plays and going into the dugout, high-fiving everybody when he's making diving catches out in left field. And when your team is this dead, when your team is this flat, when they can't show up with any sort of juice, those are the style of players that can maybe provide that for you. Because it's not as if, you're getting the big boys going. There were a couple guys on base. Nick Castellanos up. A home run would really change the whole entire feeling of the entire atmosphere. What ends up happening? A hanging pitch, which was very drivable, pop up to the outfield. Like, dude, when Aaron Nola makes a mistake, what happens? Runs are being scored. You go, damn, and you watch the ball leave the ballpark to left field. When Nick Castellanos sees a hanging pitch, and you can even see when walking off the mound, talking to himself, probably disappointed with what he threw, knew he got away with one. Or maybe it was something else and I'm reading too much into it, but that's what it felt like. Even the Mets are going, holy hell, how did we get away with that one? Dude, come on. Now, unfortunately for me, I thought there would be something that coexisted, something that correlated. The cause and the effects. At the end of our radio show on Friday night, we asked the question, who needs to step up for this team to have a big game for game one? And the obvious answer is Nick Castellanos because of his struggles. But it's almost as if we all know how bad he is that we just overlook him. At this point, he's not even part of it anymore. Okay, we know he's going to be bad. What's next? It's sad, and I'm laughing in pain, but that's just reality of where we are. I went with Schwartz because I just figured if he's going to be if he's going to be the Mets killer, and if his bat's going to come alive, and he'll give you that steady presence up at the top, that maybe it will relate in a win. Well, he did drive in some runs, and he did his job. He did his part. It's just everyone else came flat. Gene Segura's getting thrown at. I don't know what the deal is there. He got hit by a pitch, and then the one that came inside. I wonder if we're going to see a little bit of a response at some point. Now, Zach Wheeler's all business. He's not going to go out of his way by any means. And it's not as if Gene Segura is known to be some guy to go attack. I could get Rhys Hoskins for the trot that he had a few years back. I mean, they all hate each other in a sports hate world, I'm saying. Not legitimately, but in regards to I hate you, you hate me, and we despise you. And yeah, I mean, but still, I thought it was a little odd that it was Gene Segura who had that type of treatment last night. So we'll see what that all means. But yeah, it's just sad. It really is. There was, and by the way, that Stott triple, there was that awful at-bat where, it's not the awful at-bat, it was an awful call in the at-bat that changed basically everything. When there's a pitch that's high and it's up by about 6 inches off the plate, you call that a strike, and now you're just flustered, and your mind is in a pickle, and you can't believe it, and now you think about what you can throw pitching-wise. It changed the whole entire presence of the AB, and then before you knew it, Bryson Stott was over in that specific moment, and it's crushing for sure. And is that the difference in winning or losing the baseball game? Absolutely not. But it's just, it's stressful for me because there's so many different side topics that I like to appreciate when watching the game. Is this Phillies team ready? A lot of baseball left, but yesterday kind of showed me they're ready to be a wild card team, which I think is hysterical that that's looked at as a negative. We took callers all day Friday saying, you need to take 3 or 4. You have to win this series because they haven't been able to beat the Mets at all this year. Yeah, because you're not giving the Mets enough credit for how nasty they are, and stop looking at being a 60-plus win team right now in a wild card position as some negative. This makes sense. This is what they are kind of supposed to be-ish. Their offense should be better, and I expect them to get better. You can make the argument that what we saw when Bryce Harper wasn't here and how they were able to do some serious winning throughout that time frame, this is almost evening out a bit. Because we were all, how are they doing this all without Bryce Harper? Well, now you're starting to see it play out in fruition a little bit as more games are played that, well, it wasn't sustainable maybe. And they're playing teams that they are better than. Or that are better than them. And I don't want to hear, well, just because you beat the bad teams, I don't want to take that as a positive. Because then we're in Eagles land, where you beat the Giants, you have Mike Glennon, you beat all the bad teams that have quarterbacks that shouldn't be even in the league, Trevor Siemian. What else did they get to see when lining up defensively last year? There were a bunch more. Just awful. Well, I'll tell you this. They don't make the schedule. This is how their schedule is laid out. If they split with the Mets, and I'm telling you, a split wouldn't be as bad as public perception thought it would be before the first pitch occurred, then you beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you get yourself in a playoff spot, and you play a 3-game series. How are we looking at that negatively? You could be upset and mad that the Mets are handling you the way that they are, but don't lose sight of the electricity of what this team could do in a wild card position after not making the postseason since it feels like 92 years ago. Please. Eric is in the chat saying, Broads, why do you use the same logic for every sport? Well, because I just used logic in sports. What do you mean? You love when we beat the bad teams, but when we lay eggs against good teams, you make excuses. I'm not making excuses. The Mets are better than the Phillies. Losing to the Mets makes sense. I'll put it to you this way. Let's say the Eagles at the middle way of the season or whatever has 4 wins. So let's say they're 8 games in. They're 4-4. And then they're playing a team that's 7-1. Okay? I want the Eagles to win. I'm rooting for the Eagles to win. I'm pointing out why they could win. But I also understand that there's more talent and a better team on the other side. The Phillies have done some really good things this season than just beating bad teams. Look at the Brewers. Look at the Cardinals. Look at the Padres. Look at the Dodgers. Even when they play the Braves, it's always in the mix. So it's this team that has their number. It's this team. And we hate this team. It's equivalent to the Dallas Cowboys. But we can't throw away everything and act as if this team only has beaten bad teams. And we're acting as if we have a team that is doing what they're supposed to do, which is beat the teams they're better than, it's terrible. It's unacceptable. No! We haven't seen playoffs in how long? And now, as soon as we're in sort of that category of a wild card team, which is a monster step in a certain direction, without the NL MVP, somehow we're disappointed. It's just crazy. It's just keeping it level-headed. That's all. You can have feelings. You can be mad. I'm mad. You think I enjoyed that beatdown? They got pounded last night. I had the house to myself. My wife was out. I came home from work. It's like, all right, I got the dogs. It's just going to be me kicking back. I wanted to watch a competitive Phillies game, and they got embarrassed. I don't want that. And by the way, this series is not over. It's not over. You can win a series against a team you're not better than. The Phillies did that in L.A. against the Dodgers and probably should have won more than they did. But they had a big uh-oh in the bullpen late. So all of this is real, okay? It happened. So it's not impossible. But if you're playing the percentages, that's all. All of it is within range here. you can have multiple thoughts all at once that feel like they're on different sides, but it adds up at the same time. Acknowledgement of your opponent. Still want to see a bigger step made by this current team. Understanding that maybe they're not ready for it yet. Still wanting to see more. Like, it's all there. It's all there. I'm looking at some of the comments going on here. Seth says it's a transition year. Got to learn how to win and get some playoff experience. The next year is for the bigger step. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's keeping it okay with kind of where we currently sit, if that makes sense. But look, we'll see how the rest of this shapes up. There's the doubleheader today. We got Sunday afternoon, so we'll do that. I also have the Noah Syndergaard thoughts, but maybe I'll kind of wait on that for another day, and I'll add that into some of the shows we do over the weekend. So, all right, that's where we're at after game one. If you are looking to buy tickets, SeatGeek promo code PRO, $20 off. Get yourself to a game today. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys all so much. I'll catch you later on in